So, okay, I'm in my studio and I'm getting ready to transfer a drawing to my watercolor paper, and I want to show you how I do that. So let's look down here at my tabletop to see what I've got going on. I've got my reference photo right there. You can see that's the photo I worked from. So I went from having the pumpkins to having the photograph to making the drawing, and now I'm going to make a watercolor painting. But when I'm ready to paint, I don't want to take a long time to draw on my watercolor paper. To get from this to this can take me a whole lot of time because I draw really slow. I like drawing, so I take too much time to do it, and sometimes I lose track of what I'm doing. I start putting shading on there. I don't want to do that on my watercolor paper. I want to just get the line drawing. So I'm going to make a tracing of this that I can use to tape up in a sunny window and transfer that drawing onto my watercolor paper. And there's this is my favorite way to do this because it's quick and easy. It involves a piece of Mylar. That's what this is right here, little plasticky sheet. You can also buy at your fine art supply store, you can buy this stuff right here, matte acetate, and it comes in different thicknesses, and it comes in this big roll, and you can see it's just a sheet of plasticky stuff. You just roll off however much you need and cut it to the size that you're using. This piece is too big for this, but I just wanted you to be able to see what it is. And this is really nice and durable, so you can keep it and reuse it lots of times, which comes in handy. If you don't have any of that and don't want to go buy some, you can use parchment paper. That's this paper you keep in your kitchen, parchment paper for baking. Now, it's not wax paper. Wax paper, that waxy surface won't take your pen or pencil very well, so you have to use parchment paper if you're going to go the paper route. It gets kind of crinkly, though. It's not as durable, so I prefer the Mylar or the acetate. But you can do it with this parchment paper, and so you can see right through it. I guess I probably showed you that with the Mylar. Where did I put it? Yeah, there. So you can see right through it really easy. Let's zoom in on that so you can see. You can just see right through it and trace your drawing right over onto that. And I'm going to trace it over onto this piece of parchment paper here. So let me just show you. You just use a regular pencil and you just start drawing, and you make a line drawing onto your parchment or your Mylar. So there is my tracing. I'll just put my drawing aside for the moment. And now let's put this piece of paper under here so you can see it good. So there's what I've got, a nice pencil tracing. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit further and show you here. What I like to do is then take a black pen of some sort and just go over these, kind of ink some of these lines, especially in this area in the center here where it's, wow, my autofocus is going a little haywire there. Let's see if I turn this light on, see if this will help. Put a stop to that a little bit. Where it's complex in here in the center, I'm going to ink it because that'll make it a little bit easier to see when I go to do the transfer through the watercolor paper, because you won't be able to see as good as you could through the transfer, through the Mylar or the parchment paper. So there you can see I just put ink on some of these lines, makes them show up better. Now, wish my autofocus would stop doing that. Okay, so that's what I've got. Now the next thing I can do is I can take this and put it in my photocopy machine and enlarge it. Because like today, I've got another one of these that I did on Mylar and got it ready to go, just because I find it easier to work with. So I'm going to set the parchment paper aside, and I'm going to use my Mylar piece. And here it is laying on the white paper so you can see it. Now, if I wanted to paint this size, and that's what I'm going to do today, I've got some watercolor paper cut that's right about this right size here, and just perfect for that. Are we still going haywire with autofocus? I think it might be, but anyway, But if I want to do one that is this size, all I have to do is put this in my photocopy machine, and you will need to put a piece of white paper, like, you put this on the glass of your photocopy machine, and then put your white piece of paper over top of it like that, so that what you're looking at on the glass looks like there. So that it looks like that on your photocopy machine, and then you can enlarge it or reduce it or whatever, and what you get is, ta-da, you've got your photocopy then becomes your tracer, which is the tracing that you will use to tape in the window and make your larger painting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this smaller piece. I'm going to use my small tracing on the Mylar and a small piece of watercolor paper to do what I'm going to do today. So you just put a piece of tape on the top of that, and it can be any kind of tape. Let me just step over here to my sunny window and tape this right up in the window. And the tape, I'm using blue painter's tape, but you can use any kind of tape, masking tape, scotch tape, whatever. Doesn't matter. You just want to position that right there. You want to kind of get it level. And then you get your watercolor paper. Get my tape here, which is too long, so let me just tear off a smaller piece. I reuse my tape for these things, so got it stuck to the sides of my desk all over everywhere. Okay, so take my watercolor paper and just position it over there, kind of center the drawing inside the piece of watercolor paper I have up here. And I'm hoping you can see this really well, either through the camera over here or the one I've got over here on the side of me. And I'm going to just step right here and see if I need to zoom in. I think I'll zoom in on that. And that looks pretty good. Now, if I push that in there, I think you can see it. So, then you just take, again, your pencil, and I use a mechanical pencil for this, or one with not such a soft lead, because I want to make really light lines so it doesn't mess up. I don't want it to leave a lot of graphite on the paper that'll get in my watercolor paint. So I'm just using a nice light line here. But you see how you can see right through the paper and see that drawing behind it because of the light coming in from the sunny window. It's like a vertical nature's light table. That looks pretty good. So then I'll just go ahead and take that down. I'll grab the transfer while I'm at it. Now I'll save these things because I can use them over and over to make new transfer this same drawing. Like I'll transfer this onto this other piece of paper, and then I can have multiple copies of it, and when I paint them they won't necessarily all come out exactly the same, but they'll all come out very similar, and I can make, like I said, I can make my own greeting cards. There's just a lot of good reasons why I like to use this method and to transfer my drawings over onto the watercolor paper when I'm painting, or when I'm ready to paint and don't want to wait 100 years to make a bunch more drawings. It speeds up the process, and it's my own drawing, so there's nothing wrong with doing that. It just, like I said, it speeds up the process, and it makes it that I can repeat this same drawing many times over. So I hope you can use that tip and transfer your own drawings using your sunny window. Now, occasionally there's no sun. It's raining or something. There are other methods, and I have other videos in mind for showing you that. And also, if you want to transfer it onto a canvas or a board or something like that, obviously this won't work, but there's other methods that will, and I have more videos on that coming up. So stay tuned, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.